there is war. Well, as a matter of fact, it's not the big European war yet, but in some elements, I think that it is even global. I mean, like cyber war. In some elements, it's touching upon a lot of issues in the energy sector, for example. The issues of the level of martial art, of war art, is how a certain side can use non-military tools, absolutely non-military, for achieving the military goals. Therefore, energy infrastructure started playing an important role.
Bonjour, vous regardez l'Ukraine en flammes, une chaîne YouTube en français par l'Ukraine Crisis Media Center. Je m'appelle Tetiana Ogarkova et dans ce projet, on vous raconte comment l'Ukraine résiste face à l'agression russe. Quels dégâts les dernières frappes russes ont-elles causé au système énergétique ukrainien? Il n'y a pas encore de décompte final. Cependant, tout le monde en ressent les conséquences. Il existe un déficit important dans le système. Pour éviter des coupures des quartiers résidentiels à travers le pays, comme c'était le cas actuellement à Kharkiv, l'Ukraine demande une aide d'urgence à ses voisins et augmente des importations. Cependant, tout le monde comprend qu'il s'agit des mesures temporaires et qu'une nouvelle campagne de réparation pourrait coûter de dizaines de milliards de grivna. Dans l'épisode d'aujourd'hui, nous allons discuter des raisons pour lesquelles la Russie continue à frapper l'infrastructure énergétique de l'Ukraine et nous allons également explorer les réponses efficaces à ces tactiques terroristes de la Fédération de Russie. Si vous souhaitez en savoir plus, continuez à regarder cette vidéo et n'oubliez pas à vous abonner à notre chaîne YouTube pour ne pas manquer nos vidéos à venir. Les attaques contre le système énergétique ukrainien ont un objectif clair. Les Russes veulent nous forcer à capituler en créant des conditions de vie insupportables pour la population et pousser en fait l'Ukraine à des négociations. Vont-ils réussir? À une certaine époque, rappelons-nous, Hitler avait des objectifs similaires en bombardant Londres, mais ça n'a pas fonctionné. Ça n'arrivera non plus à l'Ukraine. Sur le plan économique, l'Ukraine est également capable de minimiser les conséquences de la terreur énergétique. Aujourd'hui, les installations détruites ou endommagées sont en train d'être réparées, même si ces efforts ne font pas l'objet d'une grande publicité pour des raisons évidentes, pour des raisons de sécurité. Les entreprises publiques et privées utilisent principalement leurs propres fonds pour restaurer les centrales électriques et les sous-stations détruites. L'aide étrangère dans ce contexte n'est qu'une goutte d'eau dans l'océan, puisque compte tenu de l'ampleur de destruction, l'argent ne peut pas remplacer des équipements sophistiqués dans les médias. Valérie Chaly, cofondateur de l'Ukraine Crisis Media Center, l'ambassadeur de l'Ukraine aux États-Unis dans les années 2015-2019, parlera davantage des objectifs de la Russie quand elle détruit le réseau électrique en Ukraine. Écoutons-le parler.
If we look at geopolitics and development of the last 100 of years, then we see that people are talking about oil, about embargo, some resources, equipment. But no one is discussing such aspects as destroying energy system for citizens, right? If we look even at the Second World War, then the bombings, often they were more aiming the industrial objects, not the infrastructure objects. But now, somehow in today's world and in the war, the Russian-Ukrainian war, there are a lot of moments related with the aims of destroying energy infrastructure in general, and some new elements come out. Some paradoxes, total war, and at the same time we can see like oil pipelines, gas pipelines that are working. Total war, Russian and Ukrainian, even European risks, we can see that exclusion of sanction regime. Is that okay that there is war? Well, as a matter of fact, it's not the big European war yet, but in some elements, I think that it is even global. I mean, like cyber war. In some elements, it's touching upon a lot of issues in the energy sector, for example. So we might talk about big coverage. Why does it happen this way? That it's namely in the energy sector. Well, not just in this sector, but this is some kind of specifics of this war, and the question is not why it's happening, but where should we pay attention to? And Is it just some delay in time regarding this issue? Because we know that there were some acts of aggression at the time, or even terroristic attacks, like literally on the 11th of September. There was an attack to the US and then embargo, coalitions, etc. And here, nothing like that is happening, but some episodic things. Now, I don't really hope for the UN tools, maybe even summits, but I totally agree with the fact that there are countries that don't want this Pandora's box to be open and to legalize 8 more nuclear countries further on, and then in some time add 4 more, for example, and that's it. Then all this story with like stopping the strategic nuclear weapons, it might come to an end. Here is one moment. And I feel that what you mentioned, what kind of conclusions do I make? As for strategic nuclear weapons, in spite of the destruction in the system, there were certain agreements. We even heard that publicly, that Russia was warned again regarding the red lines, and they had, like, the representative of the USA said that this threat was real, etc. And I think that as for the strategic, everybody has to hear that we are not talking about strategic nuclear weapons at all, because even due to the reason that Russia didn't have any tries since 1996 of strategic nuclear hit, just like many others. And in the USA, they already have the system of imitation. I don't know how they did it, like computer simulation or something, or scaling. I don't know what it is, but they can make some trials without application of nuclear explosion. Therefore, Russia, in this sense, they can just pretend as much as they want to, but as for today, they don't have a single, even a clue for application of nuclear weapons.
Les Russes poursuivent leur tactique de l'année 2022-2023 de destruction des infrastructures énergétiques. Auparavant, ils surestimaient leur capacité de tout détruire à une seule saison. Mais maintenant, profitant du retard de financement ou de l'arrivée des armes occidentales en Ukraine, ils terminent ce qu'ils peuvent attendre, y compris en détruisant les grandes installations de production et des sites de stockage du gaz. Les experts ukrainiens affirment qu'il est impossible de protéger toutes les stations, toutes les installations majeures contre les attaques, mais dans ce contexte-là, nous devons faire tout ce qui est possible de faire. Les partenaires occidentaux de l'Ukraine le comprennent, mais serons-nous capables de trouver suffisamment de systèmes de défense anti-aérienne pour couvrir chaque objet énergétique stratégique? Mikhailo Gonchar, notre deuxième invité, président du Centre de stratégie 21, développera davantage sur ce sujet. Écoutons-le.
We need to have the right system of coordinate, so to say, how we are assessing the things that are happening right now. I don't think we can say anything new, because everything new is well forgotten old thing. And like first people, they were having war with like the same tools that they were using in different things, like a stick. It was multifunctional. You could kill by it. And you could like look for some fruits, get them from the tree, etc. What do I mean? I mean that the fact that there is certain classification of types of weapons in war, in modern war, anything can become a weapon. The issue is of the level of martial art, of war art, is how a certain side can use non-military tools, absolutely non-military, for achieving the military goals. Therefore, energy infrastructure started playing an important role. Because if we look at, for example, 1990s that you mentioned, when we've been working together in the system of National Council of Defense and Safety, Russia started implementing successfully. It was kind of not really consciously, but intuitively, they were moving in this direction, and they were using resources, supplying gas and oil as the political forcing for post-Soviet countries to use the path that is necessary for Moscow. And when Putin's period started, it became a doctrine already. since 2003, I am often asking our foreign partners and expert environment politicians whether they've read the preamble of the first system of energy strategy of Russia, which was adopted in August 2003. The preamble, like general things, yeah? But it starts with very loud phrase that energy resources and this complex of Russian Federation is not just the base of economic development of Russia, but it's the tool of conducting internal and external policy. Just sincere constatation. It disappeared in further editions, but again, the word has been said. In this context, we can say that Russia quite successfully was implementing such a strategy of energy, kind of joining the other countries. Well, it was joint energy infrastructure since Soviet times, but they were also successfully implementing the plan of going to Europe. And the implementation of that has started actually back in the 60s. And this stage of Russian aggression against Ukraine, which started in 2014 actually, and starting since 2022, it's kind of the conventional, with applying conventional tools and energy infrastructure that became goals for targeted hits. The aim is to cope with the moral strength of Ukrainian people. And that has been applied not for the first time here. Not many people know because it has been written, it's not that well known in the West, but the strategy of total energy hit was applied by the USA in coalition of 40-something countries during the operation and releasing Kuwait from Iraq occupation in 1991. And then, methodologically, approximately for a month, coalition and the USA, they were systemically hitting. Well, first of all, they started with the oil infrastructure, oil processing infrastructure, oil warehouses and energy infrastructure. In order for Iraq, after this campaign of hits, they were quite developed among other Arabic countries in terms of energy resources and development of energy and consumption of energy. One of the first countries of the Muslim world at the time, and Saddam Hussein, he was making big investments. Approximately 4% remained of energy potential of Iraq from the one that they used to have. It was aiming at not just taking the fuel from the army of Saddam and to just hit the logistics, those are logical military tasks, but also to break the moral defense of the society and to incline Iraq's society. Well, the thought was that at the end, people of Iraq will just cope with the regime. It didn't happen this way, it's the other story, but from my point of view, Russians, they just borrowed this experience.
C'était l'épisode de l'Ukraine en flammes, projet de Ukraine Crisis Media Center. Je m'appelle Tetiana Ogarkova et nous n'allons pas tarder à enregistrer et diffuser d'autres épisodes. Dans la description sous cette vidéo, vous trouverez des informations utiles sur la manière dont vous pouvez aider l'Ukraine à continuer sa résistance contre l'agression russe. Si vous trouvez notre travail utile, n'hésitez pas de commenter, de partager cette vidéo. Restez avec nous et soutenez l'Ukraine. Slava Ukraini!